Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, looking at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am Amber Jones, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Kristen Blakely and Cindy Murray.
Hello.
And it's that time of year. Well, I don't know what time of year it is. We're in February, right? So, and we're back just with like a little awareness episode. As we all know, and I've been talking about it for the last couple of years, I've been in grad school to be a school counselor and a licensed professional counselor.
Woo woo.
Yes, and the end is near. I can see it in the future. I'm about to graduate. And I just wanted to, since we're in the beginning of February, I just wanted to acknowledge this week, February 2nd through the 6th, is National School Counseling Week.
Okay.
And this year at my school, while I am still a teacher at my school, I am also training as a school counselor. So I am the school counselor in training at my school this year. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about school counselors and what they do and what National School Counseling Week is.
Good.
Yeah. So, basically, and I'm a member of this association, being a counselor in training, it's called ASCA, or American School Counselor Association.
Okay.
So, I am a member of this association, and every year, on National School Counseling Week, they kind of do a little thing. So, and they have this week to focus public attention on the unique contribution of school counselors within the U.S. school systems. And this year's theme is School Counselors Amplify Student Success.
Uh-huh.
And before we started recording this episode, Cindy was like that you should talk about like what school counselors do, because not a lot of people are aware
don't know
of
exactly
what school counselors do. And that is very true. Last summer, I did this thing called residency with my fellow counselors, and we got together and we ran through scenarios and talked about school counseling and stuff. And we did a culminating project at the end of residency. And our residency project was school counselor awareness or school counselor visibility, because a lot of students at the school don't know that the school has a counselor.
Right.
And that's due to a lot of what we call in teaching other duties as assigned, which where schools kind of stick counselors where they want to stick them. They don't necessarily stick them in counselor roles. As a counselor at my school, I do many roles. My main focus is college and career counseling. So I have been doing a lot of that this year. But I also am there for social emotional counseling as well.
And I think that's where a lot of people don't realize that those things are available.
Yeah, that counseling services are available for students and teachers, not just students, but also teachers.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Teachers can go and see the school counselor and get counseling services.
Wow.
It's very rare that teachers do it, mainly because they don't realize that they can do it.
I would think so too, because I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not just trained to counsel students. I am also trained to counsel adults, which also comes in with the licensed professional counselor. Like that's not like a student center role. That is it can be any specialty that I want it to be, really. Any type of therapy, any type of specialty that I want it, but it focuses mainly on adults and not children. And if I do want to pursue that path, after graduation, then I could potentially become a counselor on many different fronts, such as marriage and family
Mm-hmm.
therapy, different styles of therapy, such as EMDR, cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm being trained in all of those things. As a school counselor, I can also do those therapeutic things because in the state of Texas, you must have a parent permission
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do that. With a parent permission, I can meet individually with students and provide therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, not a lot of parents and students know that that is available.
Yeah, I had no, I mean, I did not know until much later. I didn't know when I was in school that those things were available. Um,
Mm-hmm.
to me, the school counselor was all about guidance through school, with academics and stuff. Even at the middle grade levels and stuff, it was, they were there mainly just to help kids who were having trouble in school. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is what I do a lot with. Like I do help, especially for college and career counseling. I do
Mhm.
help the seniors figure out their credits and go through their transcripts with them and figure out what they need for their credit recovery to recover their credits to graduate, if they need to make certain test scores on the state exams or other like alternate projects that the students must do to graduate.
Right.
And that is probably I don't focus mainly on the social emotional, mainly because I have not been put into as many of those situations. Like I do go in and mediate disciplinary hearings
Mhm.
and I talk with parents and stuff like that, but it is mostly like on helping the students graduate and
Right.
their grades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, why this week is important, and as I was talking about, like the visibility of counselors and to make people aware of what counselors do. Like, people generally believe that counselors are the people that change schedules or handle
Mhm.
discipline
Yep.
or administer like the PSAT and the ASVAB test and stuff like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
Or they give you maybe they have the stack of different scholarships that you can go ask. Do you have any scholarships
Mm-hmm.
for Hispanic
yeah,
students or whatever? Yeah.
which I do
Yep.
do all of those things.
Uh-huh.
Like I do those things, but counselors also teach.
Mhm.
We deliver classroom guidance lessons.
Okay.
And I actually do that weekly
Mhm.
as well. I right now my students are doing a like a college and career or a career future career project where they have to go through these uh, exercises to map out like what they're going to do in the future. Like they had to research places to live, how much it's going to cost to live there, how much bills are going to
Mhm.
cost. And they had to like research like jobs that they wanted to do and the schooling that they had to have for the
I
jobs.
bet they're just like
Oh,
mind
sure.
I'm
blown.
sure.
Yeah. Especially with like the cost, because I had them like really deep dive into like cost of living, like
Uh-huh.
how much, if they were going to live in, say, New York City, how much a gallon of milk costs in New York
Mhm.
City currently, how much a loaf of bread cost, and that type of thing. Because you have to think about those things because like Texas, you don't have to pay taxes on food when you go to the grocery store.
Right.
But in Oklahoma, for example, you have to pay taxes on food.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Other states, you have to pay, other states, you have to pay, like, if you want to buy alcohol, you have to pay like a certain, like, exorbitant taxes on that. I mean,
Yeah.
Texas does
Texas
that
is too.
too,
Yeah.
but other states it's more.
There's
And
also like state income taxes that people don't
yeah,
think about, right?
Yeah,
In
like in
addition
California, you have to pay the state tax
to the
when you file your taxes.
yeah.
yeah, I did that when I lived in Utah. And there are also like things to consider as well, like coffee costs more in other states. Um, if you want like a soda costs more, like I think in New York they tax stuff like that more. So you have to like consider, like, that's why I had them like take basic foods that they would buy, or even like restaurant taxes are more in other states, and how much it would cost. And then of course, we didn't even get into like hidden fees or anything like that. Like if you're going to buy a car, we haven't gotten into anything like that.
Right.
And then I know like a tax time is coming up, and I am going to do like a lesson on taxes and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm in my 40s, and sometimes that just like goes over my head on taxes.
Yeah, that's why I don't do my own.
I like that, Amber. I think that's something that people don't even know is offered at schools, because you hear that rhetoric a lot. Like, they don't teach kids how to pay taxes and how to write a check.
Yeah.
You hear that a lot.
I did learn that.
I took
learned
record
both of those
keeping.
things.
I took record keeping in school, and I learned a
Well,
lot of that.
I did.
in
We
that
had
class.
economics class, and I'm pretty sure that's where we learned how to write checks, and
See,
we learned about
my
paying
economics
taxes.
was like government economics, and that
no,
kind of
ours was called
economics.
free enterprise. I think was what it was. It was economics and free enterprise, and so some of it was about owning and business and how businesses operate, but some of it was like your own personal economics and stuff. If I remember
Interesting.
right. Yeah. We also had government class, but that was different.
Yeah, so I do like those types of guidance lessons. But then I have not, but I can also do lessons for, like, say, if I didn't focus on college and career counseling, counselors also do like group lessons for like stress relieving and meditation and things like that. Counselors, like we talked about, provide individual and group counseling, and they are like one of the first on the scene for a mental health crisis response. I know I've had to deal with a couple of things like that this year. And then I talked about like all of the college and career guidance and post-secondary planning that I meet with each individual senior and go over their schedules and everything like that. And then counselors also advocate for students, especially students that they feel like are being treated unfairly or marginalized or underserved students. Counselors do a lot of advocating. I know the former counselor at my school, she even went to student houses, and especially during the pandemic, she didn't stay home. She went to, if we didn't hear from the students, she went to their house and made sure that they were alive and like, why haven't you checked in to get your attendance and everything like that. And she like really she also stayed up at the school when the teachers were forced to stay home, and she and our cafeteria lady at the time passed out meals to families.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like some of the things that she did as a counselor. She also gave scholarships to students. And did all of that as far as like the awarding of scholarships to students. And at other schools, counselors do that as well. the counselors also deal with a lot of data and spreadsheets and like, especially with like the credits and testing and like this student is at risk, this student is not, this student needs to get their grades up. They do a lot of behind the scenes thing as well. And then counselors also educate teachers and administrators on how to do these data sets and how they can do social emotional learning and guidance lessons in their own classrooms. So counselors not only teach students, but they also teach teachers. And then, but a lot of times, like I said, counselors have fallen into these other duties as assigned roles, where they kind of fall into administrative positions, which is not really what we are supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes schools just don't have the budget to
Yeah.
have an assistant principal and a counselor. So
Exactly.
yeah.
That's exactly how that goes. Like I know that at some small schools the principal themselves is also the counselor. So they have a counseling certification as well as a principal certification.
Okay.
Which is funny because like when I told them I was getting my certification in counseling, they also asked me at my school, they were like, "Are you also getting your principal certification?" And I'm like,
Heck no. Heck no.
Yeah. So that's probably something that I might consider in the future if that's like something that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Especially if I wanted to continue to work in small schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about that and talk about this week. And the National School Counseling Week is doing a photo challenge for this week as well. So and it is a challenge for not just counselors, for teachers. Yeah, every day is a different theme. So Monday was a photo challenge, how counselors and teachers can amplify student success. And then Tuesdays was how counselors and teachers can amplify their own success. Sorry. And then today, how school counseling programs can amplify student success. Tomorrow will be how school systems can amplify student success. And then Fridays will be how families can support their students.
Oh,
nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to spread that awareness out there about, especially to parents. If you haven't talked to your school's counselor, you should get in touch with your child's counselor and just get to know them and talk to them about your student and how they can help your student succeed this school year.
I have a little, I don't know, from my own perspective, when I was in school, I had very little contact with my school counselor. I didn't, except for when they were administering tests, but I know that when Kristen, I had a little run-in with a school counselor. When Kristen was in elementary school, I had a great school counselor that helped us navigate the whole ADHD, special education, Section 504 help for dealing with her ADHD. And the original counselor that was there was really great. And I got really turned off by counselors. I can't remember if it was 5th or 6th grade year, but we had a new counselor that year. And so on the first day of school, I went to go pick Kristen up. And I went to the counselor's office and introduced myself and told her that my daughter had ADHD, and I looked forward to working with her. And she looked me straight in the eye and said, "Well, that has nothing to do with me. That is a medical disorder, and it has nothing to do with me."
Oh, well, that's wrong.
Exactly. That is not the truth, for one. And I don't know where like I said, she may have been brand new. I don't know if she didn't know what her duties were or whatever.
Makes me wonder if she was actually like a licensed counselor, like she went to school for it.
I don't know, but it really put me off. It was very off-putting. And I didn't want to deal with counselors much after that at all. And in fact, when Kristen got into junior high, we had a terrible counselor at the middle school. And then we finally got to the high school, and they messed up her school schedule. And so I went to the counselor to try to straighten out her schedule. And I kind of had words with the counselor again, because she was like, "Oh, well, she needs to be in blah, 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 blah class and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "No, you don't understand. The only reason we came to this school district was so she could be in this class. And if you don't put her in that class, we will go to another school district." And she just kind of looked at me like, "Whoa, okay." I think it was swimming or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we really, specifically, when I was researching what school district to live in, I specifically chose school districts so that when she was in high school, she could be in the classes that she would have taken in our old school district. And this teacher just could not understand why I was so adamant about this class, her being in swimming or whatever. And but she had already been in swimming in junior high in our old school district, and so I wanted her to continue that as her PE class, and they weren't going to put her in it until I stood up to this counselor, who happened to be the same counselor. Miss Biggs, was that her name? I don't remember. She was the same counselor from the junior high that I had problems with.
Oh, so she switched to
The high school, and she was a problem, but I just stood up to her, and they finally fixed it. And I didn't have any other dealings with her until Kristen was a junior, I think. And she actually got a good counselor, so that they had different counselors for different grades. And the good counselor found out that she had ADHD and was asking, why is she not getting special ed, and why are we not having ARDs for her and making accommodations? And I told him it was because this other counselor at the other school, the one in our previous home, had said that she wasn't eligible for any of those things. And they said, "Oh yeah, she is. If she's on medication, she's automatically eligible." Automatically. And so it was
nowadays you wouldn't even be dealing with the counselor when it comes to that,
right? But that was who did it back then. And
yeah,
if it wasn't for that really good counselor, I know I started out by saying there was all these bad ones, but if it wasn't for that really good counselor that was looking out for her students, that looked at Kristen and said, "Why aren't you receiving these benefits?" She would not have gotten any benefits at all. And that because she finally got those benefits at school, she was actually able to go through the Texas Rehab Commission, which is what it was called at the time, and get some help when she went to college as well, including scholarships. And so that was a really great thing that this one counselor did for her. And I'm really sad that so many two other bad counselors made it bad, to start with. Now, my son, he had great counselors the whole time, and we worked with them all the time. Between the counselor and the diagnostician, we worked with them a lot, and that was really good. But we had really bad. So I want to acknowledge the the counselors that are out there that are doing the good work, because it can make all the difference in the world for a student. And it's important that the parents know what those counselors do and what their powers are and what they're not, because if I had known more about it back in those days, it might have made a difference, because I could have gone to those counselors with more armed with more knowledge that
Yeah.
would have helped my students. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I do agree that there should be more visibility for counselors, which is what we talked about over the summer, how
Mm-hmm.
you can have more visibility. One would be like if the school allows it to, set up a booth and talk to parents
Mm-hmm.
about it whenever there are open house.
Oh yeah,
And
that would be great.
of course, like I was unable to do that. However, during open house, if parents came to my room and everything, I let them know that, hey, I'm the counselor in training if they
Mm-hmm.
have any questions. And I do have parents that email me and ask me questions and ask for my input and for help and everything. Right now, I'm helping a student's mom find special education scholarships for her son.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are definitely different resources that we have that parents and students can come that they don't realize.
Right, right.
Um, and when you're talking about Kristen's counselors, I honestly couldn't tell you who my counselors were
Mm-hmm.
when I went to school, because I never really had any schedule problems or
Right.
anything like that where I had to deal with a counselor, or any discipline or behavior problems where I had to deal with a counselor. I think maybe I met with a counselor right before I graduated to make sure that I had
Mm-hmm.
all of my credits, or maybe I think maybe I met with a counselor going into high school to pick which plan I wanted to go on,
Right.
which graduation plan.
Which that didn't even exist when I was in school. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that maybe I did that, and then maybe I met with them right before I graduated. But other than that, I knew our school had two counselors, but I never had a reason to go in and talk with
Well,
them.
see, and I think I would have benefited from if I had known that school counselors were there to give counseling on non-academic things, because I
Mm-hmm.
think that would have helped me a lot in school, because of some of the things that I had to deal with. And I think if I'd known that there was somebody there I could turn to in a crisis,
Yeah.
um, and there are some schools are smart about things, like when there are students in crisis. I'm thinking mainly about like incidents where there's a student who dies, um, when there's school shootings, things like that. There's or like I said, when a student dies, often, or something bad happens in the community, like fires or a tornado or something. Very often, the schools will set up counseling for those students because they are traumatized by those things. And when I was in school, there was actually an incident of a student death, and I don't remember them ever talking about, when you hear it on the news, they'll often say school counselors are available to talk to students or whatever. But I don't remember anyone saying anything like that when I was in school. And I think that would have been helpful to know that that was available, because I knew the people who died. And, it's kind of traumatic to be a student and to have another young person pass
Yes.
away. And, you know, so I think that's another really great service that they offer that I never knew about, but would have benefited me personally. So, um, and so I'm glad we're doing this episode so that maybe some of our listeners will know what counseling is there for, and will know that they can reach out for that help, the parents or the students.
Definitely, I think that would definitely be helpful for like future going ons and future counseling programs.
Hmm.
Kristen, do you have anything that you want to add? Any experience with Raina's school or?
I never talked to any of her counselors, but her dad did a lot of that with like the 501(c)(4)s and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And honestly, I also probably way underutilized the school counseling system. I remember being in the counselor's office once, but I don't remember what we were talking about. It might have been something checking in on something where they had to ask a whole bunch of kids. I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember. I just remember her office was really small, like a closet, but it was full to the ceiling. And then I remember utilizing the college and career planning counselor and going to her office because it was a completely different counselor at the school, and her office was more like roomy for a family to sit with the table, and I
Right.
think we sat and she had like a bunch of pamphlets and all of those things. So I remember it being kind of two different settings. But yeah, I don't even remember why I talked to the counselor that one
Yeah.
time, and it wasn't even like by my choice. It was like I got called in,
Hmm.
and it was probably related to, it could have been after 9/11, honestly, where they just had everyone go and talk to the counselor,
Mm-hmm.
as a check-in kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like I remember that being there, like, wow, I didn't even know you could
Right.
see a counselor
Right.
at the school. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew there was the school counselor, but I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
It almost seems like it's there, but it's under like advertised.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It
Like-
almost
like-
seems like if everyone just automatically went to the counselor like on a regular basis, it would make going to see a counselor normalized.
Right. Right.
Because for me, I feel like everyone could benefit from seeing a counselor.
Even
Because
if it's just to check in. Hey, how's things going?
Yeah, because
How's
then
your
it's just someone
grades?
to
Yeah.
talk to.
Right.
Like, whether you want to be like friends with them or you want to keep it strictly business or just checking in. I mean, and I think maybe that's where human like rights come in, and people don't want to be forced to talk to a counselor, but they can't make you go talk to a counselor. And maybe
Well,
that's
I don't know.
why.
I think they could make you go in to talk to the counselor, but you don't have to disclose anything.
Yeah.
But I don't
Now,
know.
I can see where
nowadays,
people
you have
would
to
get
have
mad.
a
You have to
parent
have parent
permission.
consent.
Permission. Yeah. And so to me, that seems like
Well, and my parents would have said no.
right.
I'm
Right.
serious,
Yeah.
Mine
Yeah.
would have said no.
She doesn't need that. I could
Well,
hear
yeah,
your mom
like
saying
to
that.
talk about anything like
Yeah.
social, emotional,
Yeah.
you have to have a parent's permission nowadays.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
So,
That's my thoughts on that. I feel like if it was more widely known, it would be more normalized.
well, and I
And
have
more
problems
beneficial.
with that. The parents have to consent to it because
yeah, that's
what if the
crazy.
child is abused? Because the counselor is, the school itself is a first line of defense for a child who is being abused. That is the
Yeah,
first
and
place
then-
they could go to for help.
Yeah, and now parents have to consent for a student to like.
And if the parent is the one who's doing the abuse, they're not going to consent.
Yeah.
And so that's where I have a little bit of a problem with that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I understand why they want to do that, because there's some liability there with a student, being guided in directions that maybe the parent doesn't want, but at the same time, there are and I don't know, that may be only a Texas thing, maybe not necessarily in all states, but
I'm not really sure exactly,
Yeah.
but it is definitely a Texas thing
Right.
where
But-
a parent has
Yeah.
to consent.
Because I'm just thinking of, students who are going through, you know, maybe a student is thinking about coming out as gay or lesbian or something.
And then we cannot talk to students about that
really
at all.
Okay. So
Especially without parent consent.
Well, especially without parents' consent. But
yeah, I could see that being that adult child like boundary crossing. It's also like school, and that's not.
But it's so hard because those students who are in crisis. I'm talking about students in crisis.
Yeah.
They maybe they're being abused, maybe they're suicidal, whatever. They need that outlet, that they need that person that they can reach out to. And if they don't go to church, then who are they supposed to talk to? Who can they turn to? So, I don't know. It's a tightrope is what it is. And, it's kind of sad, but you can only do what you can do. So,
yeah, pretty much that's all we can do.
Right.
Is what we can do.
Well, we appreciate all that you do, Amber.
Yes, we do.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
now, not just a teacher, but now going into counseling and supporting kids even far beyond just education, but their emotional well-being.
Needs, yeah. And their future once they graduate from high school. So.
Well, and counseling is also available if you go to college or a trade school.
Very often, yes.
School counselors are also available as well. In bigger colleges, like school psychiatrists are, and that is like a free service for students. So if you didn't know, if you're a listener and you're in college and you didn't know that was like something that you could take advantage of, I would say definitely take advantage of the school health services.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, guys, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, it's my turn since we swapped jobs. And my topic that I chose for this time is what constitutes cheating. And can married couples have friends of the opposite sex? I have,
deep.
and this is a big controversy with a lot of people, and so I'm interested to hear what y'all's take on it is, and why, because I hear a lot of different people say a lot of different things, and I'm curious. So.
Okay,
Let's
then.
do it. All right.
Okay.
Next week.
All right, listeners, we love you. Hit us up on our Facebook group, MMC Chat. Send us an email. Check out our Heard It on the Podcast blog and any links that we put on. Every week we will have a Heard It on a Podcast blog with links of things that we talk about. Occasionally we will have personal blogs, mostly Cindy posting them.
I haven't done one in a while. I'm a little bit behind.
Occasionally we'll have personal blogs about the topic. So check us out at modernmusings.net. You can also link to the podcast or past episodes at modernmusings.net and past blogs that we have put about different topics as well.
Look forward to it.
All right.
Yep. All right. We will talk to you next week.
Bye.